now take a slightly different tack. Sorry, to McKevitt, who is a serial entrepreneur who has been highlighted as amongst the world's most admired and powerful business leaders. That was a failed joke there. I was going to imply that she was a serial killer. Obviously, she's not. She's just a serial entrepreneur. She has advised and worked alongside 52 heads of state on poverty alleviation, global health, climate change, and education. She's hosted primetime television shows, she's written books, and through her business, MDPC Global, she travels the world helping some of the world's most influential people grow their brands. We're talking Beyonce, Jay-Z, and Australia's very own Michelle Bridges. And today marks the first time in 8 years that Anne has graced the stage and spoken publicly. So we are so thrilled to have her here. Please welcome Anne McKevitt.
Some incredible speakers. It's quite a array of stories to follow, and hopefully I can share with you something that you're going to get a lot from today. So I want to talk to you about the power of you. So much of our days are busy. We're always distracted. We're always doing things. We're on social media. We're watching TV. We've got to pick up the kids. All these things are happening. And some of the most fascinating things going on around us every single day, we're kind of quite oblivious to. We're not aware of really what's happening. You're all sitting here. We're on a planet, I'm standing, on a planet that is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. Not only is the planet spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, we are on a planet that's hurtling around the sun every single hour at 70,000 miles an hour. And it's doing it at exactly the same time. We also rarely think about the natural processes going on around us, whether it's gravity or photosynthesis. And of course, let's not forget how little attention we pay to the most complex thing that humankind knows. That's the brain that sits upon our shoulders. The human brain has 100 billion neurons. Yet, we have little time thinking about how that brain really works and how our own peculiar minds function. And I guarantee you that you would have more success if you just understand one or two little details. Whatever success means to you, you will be able to have more success if you understand the power of you. We might feel like the ultimate owners of our brains, but we are still really strangers to what actually goes on inside our skulls. And I want to bring you into my world just for a few minutes so that you can understand my thinking on how our brain works and how you can have more success. You see, I grew up in the far north of Scotland. The accent's probably a little bit of a giveaway. Back in those days, where I grew up was the kind of place that had more sheep than it had people. It was also the kind of place that if you didn't want to marry your next cousin, you better get the hell out of there. Now, when I was 15, I had spent my entire childhood growing up in a very bad domestic violence situation. So at 15, I decided to run away from home. And I moved to London. All I had was a tiny little tourist map of London. You know, one of those ones that kind of fold out? That was it. I thought that was London. I didn't realize London was actually like that size as opposed to that size. Back then, I hadn't sat any exams, and I hadn't got a single qualification to my name, and I still don't to this day. Yet, decades later, I have found myself advising American presidents, Harvard professors, and I've advised some of the biggest Fortune 100 companies in the world. All while I've become a key business advisor on growing brands for Hollywood's most elite individuals. People like Beyonce, Jay-Z, Gwyneth Paltrow. These are clients of mine that I help grow their brands. So what made me qualified to advise these people? And indeed, what makes me qualified to stand here on stage today talking to you? Why do some of the most successful people want my advice for their entities? Well, the first thing you need to know is I do have a superpower. But you all have the exact same superpower. You possess the same superpower that I do. And with that superpower, I've figured out one really simple principle that creates success. Whether it's been creating success for myself or creating success for others. And I've learned anything in life, it's this, and that is the power of you. You have the power to do and be whatever you want to be. But there is a catch. And frankly, the catch is a bit of a pain in the arse. You see, we are all very unreliable deciders on our own lives because we have two selves that are constantly battling it out to win out against each other. Well, it's happening almost every hour of every single day. I have it, you do too, and so does every single person you know. We all have the doer and we have the dodger. We are natural self-deceivers, and our techniques to lie to ourselves are absolutely vast. Both selves, the doer and the dodger, deploy really clever tactics and techniques and ideas in a hope that they're going to win out at any point in your mind, whatever is going on at any moment. They're both trying to win over each other. And it's a constant, unrelenting, ongoing, all day, all night negotiation between your two selves. Each self controls what you emphasize or what you minimize in your life. Now, we can pay a very, very high price for not being truthful to ourselves by letting the dodger self win with what you leave in your life and what you leave out. But which dodger do you feed? Which dodger do you give the oxygen to? Which dodger do you pull the oxygen mask away from, the doer or the dodger? Now, we don't purposely mislead ourselves. At any moment in time, our brains are just spinning around, and whatever that current winning self is, whether it's the doer or the dodger, will give you that particular point of view at that particular time in your head. So what you have to do is step back and ask yourself, is it the doer or the dodger that's winning this time? Which one do I want to win? Now, back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, and I was 19 years old, it was a long while ago, especially when I'm sitting next to such incredible young women over there, I feel I'm very, very old, let me tell you, I became aware of the battle of my two selves. There was a constant internal negotiation going on between my doer and my dodger. You see, I've been involved in a really bad car accident. We were stationary on a country road, and a farm tractor needed to pull out, so we came to a halt. There was 3 cars in front of me. We were all stopped, and suddenly, out of nowhere, a car came from behind and slammed into the back of me at 70 miles an hour. Now, the next thing I knew, I was lying on the verge of the road, and I was unable to move. And later, a couple of hours later, I was told I may not walk again. Now, I lay in a white room, unable to move, and I didn't talk a word for 4 months. I was completely mute. Not because I couldn't physically talk, but because I was in such shock. Now, as you'll see, I've kind of made up for that now. And anyone who knows me is always saying to me, shut up for a minute. But going back to my story, inside my head, each day as I lay in that white room, I had a full-blown war going on. It was a negotiation like no other. The dodger was telling me, this is what your life is going to be. Get used to it. The rest of your life, you're going to be looking up at people's nasal hair. The rest of your life, you're going to get very well acquainted with ceilings. And you're going to be watching a lot of really shit daytime TV. And that was going to become my norm. Meanwhile, my doer was saying, ignore what some of the medics are saying, and instead take control. To start putting one foot in front of the other, no matter how painful or difficult it was going to be. So that's what I did. 11 months, 23 days, and 8 hours later, I left that white room. But it was on a stretcher because I was still unable to walk. Then my former clients and friends, Paul and Linda McCartney, stepped in, and they helped find me the right medical person to help me get back walking again. They found me this guy who worked with the Royal Ballet in London. And then they paid £40,000 of treatment for me to help me get back walking. But money and friends alone weren't enough. You know, the thing I was dealing with was what was going on in my head. The negotiation between my two selves, that was the thing that was really going to make the difference here. And that's how I started to learn to walk again. Now, what I did was actually very simple. I had to put one foot in front of the other. But what I had to do wasn't easy. I had to put one foot in front of the other. And every damn day, every damn step, and every bit of sweat that dripped from my body, I had to battle the two selves. I was battling between the doer and the dodger, whether I would take that next painful step or not. And every step that I took, I mentally had to pull up an oxygen mask away from the dodger to let my doer win that battle. Now, from the time that I had the accident until the time that I could walk completely unaided on flat surfaces took me 2 years. And it took me a further 6 months to learn to climb stairs after that. But you don't really need to experience that trauma, and you don't need to experience the adversity to realize the power that you have inside you. What I've learned is that we are all at our best when we fulfill our potential, when our doer has a destination to reach beyond our standard measure, when our doer continually makes you push past your reach and exceed the normal grasp that you have. And that is where all our commonality lies. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever to think that some human beings are a different kind of human being that becomes successful, and the others are just striving to reach there. You don't need to know the full plot of your life to start architecting it. All you need to do is stop being invested in your stuckness. Stop letting your dodger dominate the internal negotiations that are going on in your head. Never become the proud author of your lack of getting your shit done. Be the hero instead of what you want to have happen. Now, even when I look back with hindsight at my first career in fashion as a stylist, and I've had a lot of different careers, I'd frequently be doing the hair of the Queen of Greece, and I'd be fitting tiaras to the Queen of Greece and the Queen of Spain, the Queen of Jordan, and I was a weekly visitor to Kensington Palace, and we all know who lived in Kensington Palace. And even crown jewel wearers have doer and dodger days. Just look at what's happened to Meghan. So for much of our lives, many people, they wing it. They just kind of hope that, you know, the next day is going to come along and things will be fine. Sauntering through life blindly from 1 hour to the next, from one day to the next, from 1 month to the next year is never going to work. It is never going to bring you success of whatever success means to you. So before you realize it, don't be the person that looks back at their life wondering, what the hell just happened? Why did I not get what I wanted? You know, I see it all the time, and it really does not need to be this way. So all you need to do is keep track of your two selves and decide, are you allowing your dodger or your doer to win? And are they affecting you, your day, your week, and your life? Because it's very, very accumulative. What you do on a day will affect what happens at the end of the year. In the same way that a tennis player, Federer, if he's out there on the tennis court playing Wimbledon, if he makes a mistake in the first set, do you think that might affect whether he's going to win at the end? Of course, because every game matters to make sure you win every set. If you win every set, you might win the game and the championship. So next time you're struggling to do something, remember it comes down to this. The greatest gift that you can give yourself is the power of you. And the way to do that is simple, but it's not easy. It's the one principle that changes everything. Always pull the oxygen mask away from your artful dodger, and then go and create your next amazing success. Thank you.